Well, we start the second half of the season here for the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's road course series with the Porsche Cups, and we go stateside. We go to the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. It's going to be a whole load of fun hitting this full-on Grand Prix circuit here today for another couple of rounds. It is round 7 and 8, the Feather Online Gaming Race of the Week. So big thanks to them for sponsoring today's race. It's myself, Cam Roger, Ewan O'Leary alongside me, and Hugo Louise on the production of this RaceSpotTV broadcast as we enter the final 3 rounds of the season. We started at Watkins and back at the end of September before moving to Road Atlanta to have our American leg of the trip. We go back into Europe to Eracingligan, which was very interesting. Different circuit a couple of weeks ago before going back over the pond to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and then we will end in Europe with the Red Bull Ring and Donington Park in just 4 weeks' time. It has been a very interesting season so far. Tobias Olsson, he has the most race victories with 4, Marcus Byfeld with 2, but the reverse grid always shaking things up, and it is actually Byfeld leading the championship by 1 singular point, and it's very close in behind for the fight for third place as well, with Oliver Hagström Vigaju just 10 points ahead of Sundström, a few points ahead of Lindhoff, Olsen, etc. So there's still a lot to be played for as we enter and we go past the halfway point of this season. It's a big long track today as well, plenty of overtaking opportunities, so I'm really looking forward to see what the drivers are going to do out there on the track. The practice times looked very close up towards the front end as well, so it's going to be very difficult to predict, at least, who is going to be winning so far this season. But yes, Ewan, it was a bit of a change last time, not only in the commentary box with Lewis McGlade joining you that time around, but also a bit of a different new circuit back at Eracingligan.
Yeah, it was a little bit different than normal, certainly, and I do feel like the lack of familiarity for these drivers at that circuit does improve the racing slightly, but that will go away for the next few weeks again as we come to more familiar grounds at Montreal, Red Bull Ring and Donington Park to end the season. And what a championship we've got on our hands as well. Marcus Byfeld and Tobias Olsson, only 1 point separating them at the moment. They're probably in a 2-horse race amongst themselves, to be honest, and really it's going to matter who takes the race wins, because while Byfeld has had the sort of more consistent results, if you like, he has got half the wins of Olsen, and when you win, of course, you gain at least 5 points, if not more, over your rivals. So that's going to be really, really key over the course of the remainder of this season. And worth remembering, of course, those points don't have the drop rounds included yet. When you do include them, it switches the other way, and Olsen slightly has the advantage, but only just. It is still very, very small margins at the front of the field between those two.
And in the practice session, they were up towards the front. We've already got Olsen going on the provisional pole by half a second. We're yet to see some strong times from all of the drivers, though, as they work their way through these opening couple of laps in their 10-minute qualifying session. We've got a couple of races coming up for you. The first sprint race, 21 minutes, and obviously starting in the qualifying order. Then we have a little bit of a break for warm-up, and then we go to a 31-minute race with an inverted top 10, and that invert can always change things quite a lot. You can always see a driver getting on pole, running away with it in the first race, but then it is not quite so easy when you have to start from 10th place, especially in these Porsche Cups. It is, I say, quite a big track, but it is quite narrow and old school round here, so as much as you've got a couple of long straights to make some overtakes, some nice hard braking zones, it is a bit narrow. You're not going to be staying 3-4 wide very often around this track.
Yeah, no, I do feel like as well this circuit is sort of, or these cars rather around this circuit, just about fast enough to sort of make it very difficult actually in terms of overtaking. So yeah, I think that reverse grid race is going to be the absolutely crucial one, but first up is that first race set by the qualifying order, and you've got to qualify on the front row, I think, if you're one of those two. If you're Olsen or Byfeld, you've got to qualify on the front row for me. But let's see what they can do as Henrik Lindhoff moves to that front row. He's less than a 10th behind Tobias Olsson, just over halfway through this qualifying session.
And looking at the lap times, I'm pretty sure we're in the 36s in the practice session as well. So I think there's a little bit more time left out there on the circuit as they get quicker and quicker as the session goes on. Byfeld down in 5th place. Importantly, got some drivers up there around him as well. Hagström Vigaju, 3rd place in the championship. He's there in 7th as well. So it's going to be an interesting couple of final laps here as they try and work their way towards the front of the grid, but it is so close inside that top 10. and just a couple of tenths here and there are going to affect you quite a bit. As you say, Ewan, as much as there are a couple of places to overtake, it will be narrow around here, and you don't get the big run necessarily that you get in other cars. So you have to really work for an overtake. But 20 minutes and 30 minutes of the race today will be plenty of time for you to do so, as we're seeing Skagerston here getting the run out of the hairpin and up onto the back straight.
Yep, this is the important corner on the circuit, really, that hairpin. You've got to have it towards that, for the run towards that final chicane, where most of the overtaking opportunities are going to be. We're not expecting to see side-by-side through here, to be honest. It's very, very difficult to do that. However, we may well see moves being made, bravery on the brakes down here, and avoiding the wall, of course, imperative to a lap time around here as well, as Skagerston comes up towards the line now and goes over. Should be in the top 10 with that time, and indeed does move up to 9th.
And importantly, though, Byfeld a few seconds ago is going to the top by 3.5 tenths. Tobias Olsson. He's got enough time to come back from this, but does he have the lap time? That is a big, big jump for Byfeld, and for your championship leader as it stands, that is a big margin over a rival. We've seen Byfeld, of course, coming out from the championship last time in the GT3s, coming to the Porsche Cups, and it's been Tobias Olsson with the pace. And to be honest, he's got loads of teammates around him as well. For Tobias Olsson, a lot of the ice cold drivers, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the first race a couple of weeks ago, but to be honest, nearly on pace. They are 1, 3, and 4 in the standings. Byfeld, Vigaju, Sundström, so nearly on pace. Well, they are on the pace. Contrary to what their name says. 2 minutes to go. Tobias Olsson coming down in towards the final chicane. It is a bit of a lottery sometimes through the chicane. You've got to judge the bumps, judge the sausage curves to perfection to get the car settled again, get back on the power for the long run up towards the line. Oh, he goes into the wall on the exit as well. That is certainly not going to help his lap time, and as he comes up towards the line, I doubt this is going to be an improvement. Yes, it's a 37.3, so he's going to have to go again.
Yep, he's just about got time to go one more, and that's quite deep into one as well. Look at the way he has to really tightly keep it to turn 2 there. Not sure this is the best start to another lap here for Tobias Olsson, who's won 4 out of the 6 races we've seen so far. And at the moment, looks like he's going to have a battle on his hands to win this one. I know he already gives in. So this will be the end of the session for Tobias Olsson, who is a 3.5 tenths behind Byfeld right now. And luckily, with Elias Fanoli and Henrik Lindhoff already in pit lane, it looks like he's going to stay in second, but he's not going to be on pole. That will go to his big rival.
And that is a big statement. The only driver in the end in the 36s as well. So he was able to come out and just perfect that lap time. Here comes Lindelof, though, who should have enough time to get to the finish line. He's on about 5th place currently. Everyone ahead of him is not going to be improving their position. So this is his opportunity in the 199, and he is half a second off, but he is going to be slowing down there as he made a bit of a mistake through the chicane. So that will be his session done. There's still actually quite a few drivers out there on the circuit, so might be a few final times coming in as we still have 20 odd seconds. Looks like most of the laps coming in early. There's a Hucken shot in the 101 for Sim Race Sweden in their very colourful livery, working his way out of the chicane. But is he? I don't know if he's going to be on a lap as well. Looks like he's taking a bit of a funny line. So I think all the drivers just coming to the end of their session. And it looks like the Feather Online Gaming Race of the Week pole position is going to be going to Marcus Byfeld. And that is a bit of a statement. He won the sprint race back at Atlanta, and then the feature race at Ruskirchen. So he's got a couple of wins to his name so far this season, and there goes a pole position as well. It's a whole load of drivers out there on the circuit as well. 44. We have had about 60 at tops earlier on in the season, but this is a little bit more of a reasonable number today. And here's the grid for today's sprint race. We've got Byfeld and Olsson, your championship rivals, on the front row with Fanoli, Lindhoff, Lindelof, and Berntsen. So a lot of ice-cold drivers there up inside the top 3 rows. Sundström, Hedlund, Giros, Vigaju, Baz, and Skagerston, your top 12. So Sundström and Vigaju there, they are obviously up there in the championship as well. Strand, Stralberg, Lindberg, Forslund, Olsson, Nordstrom, they are your top 18. Sundell, Holmer, Holmbom, Bachmann, Gunnarsson, and Crook. A few of these drivers got a lot of work to do to get inside the top 10 for the reverse grid. Frisk, Ericsson, Loven, Carlson, Svensson and Tony Uvenen inside your top 30. Then we got Håkan Schott, Johansson, Norberg, Kinnell, Broström, Motin, your top 36. And then the final few drivers towards the back, we got Wallingston, Dahlström, Norgren, Forsell, Lundqvist, Pfeffer. A couple of drivers not setting some lap times, and it's Penninx and Kenneth Tier starting from the back for Polski Logistics. 44 drivers take the grid. Will they even be going through the final chicane? We're all the way back there. It's a long run to the start-finish line, but a lot of drivers out there as well. And you and I wonder just how important is it going to be for Olsen to get through, or can he afford a second place behind Marcus Byfeld?
Yeah, I think we just about fit them all on the front straight, by the way. I think it's not worth risking everything. We've got 3 rounds to go. That's 6 races. It's not the end of the world if he loses this race, even to his big rival, because, of course, we do have that reverse grid race where I think he could really gain quite a lot of points in the carnage of race 2. So, don't risk everything, I would say to him, but he will be going for this lead, that's for sure.
Yes, he certainly will. And the lights come on. 21 minutes go on the clock. And the sprint race is going to be underway. Marcus Byfeld from pole position. He's already cutting across to the right-hand side to cover off Tobias Olsen and get to the racing line. Olsen sitting there in second place, but he thinks about a move to the inside. In the background, Fernoli's going to have to hold on from Lindhoff, who's diving down to himself cover off from Lindelof. We already got a spinner there in the midfield. As one of the drivers goes back, it might be Forsland who's gone around. Rob Ericsson, I think, has gone off the track as well. So a few extra drivers getting involved, but a solid start from the front lot.
Yeah, Tobias Olsen gets through on Marcus Byfeld on the start of this race, and we'll see some replays in a moment, but I'm interested to see whether there was contact involved. Here goes Byfeld again. He's looking for that lead back again because he knows it's going to be hard to overtake once this race gets settled, and he could well get swallowed up by some of Olsen's teammates. Here he comes again.
And this is a difficult one for Byfeld, but he has the inside line though. So Olsen, he's squeezing him onto the grass as he come onto the bridge, just onto the braking zone. But Olsen breaks later around the outside. The two championship rivals go. Contact is made. Fernoli's going to get the run here. He might think about a move down the inside into the hairpin.
That was really close to a spin there for Byfeld. He had to yank that car back again, and he's going to have another look here. Inside line, it's half attack, half defence, and there is contact there, I think, with Olsen, who goes a bit wide now. It's all stacking up this field, by the way. The more the front two battle, the more the rest of them will get in behind them. There is not a single gap more than a second, down to 28th position as they come to the end of the opening lap.
There's a lot of ice-cold drivers in here as well. So, there's a huge crash coming off turn 11. This is the exit of the hairpin. And as we go back to the front, Olsen keeps the lead. But, there goes Lindhoff all over the Sim Race Sweden cars, going to be losing multiple places as they chunk the curb off to the right-hand side. We're seeing multiple drivers, seeing as Hedlund dropping down with 3 wide as we come across the start-finish line. The 2 race leaders go. Marcus Byfeld dives up the inside. He hits the curb. He's going to lose momentum. Olsen goes wide. The up and under there for Byfeld, and he should finally have the lead.
Well, unbelievable racing between these two. They know that once this race gets settled and it's properly single file, that it's going to be almost impossible to overtake, and so neither of them want to give up this race lead. At the moment, I think it's been firm but fair from both of them. They've just about been giving each other enough room, but here they come again. Inside, Olsen doing what Byfeld did to him last lap, but he's gone too deep, way too deep this time. Oh my goodness, Byfeld is going to be leading by a long, long way after a big mistake down there at turn 6. Luckily, he's got bodyguards around him as Tobias Olsen. He will keep second.
Yeah, his teammates are trying to have the fight of their own. So it's Fernoli and Bernstein on his inside. We've got 2x2 of Hedlund and Lindlow in the background as well. So the ice-cold race. No! There goes round with the nearly on pace drivers. That's a big shame for Vigaju. 3rd place in the championship. That is going to be a big points lost. Was there contact from the car behind of Lindhoff, the number 8 recovering driver after his off-track on the previous lap? But no, that is such a big shame. Vigaju losing so many places, going to be down in about 18th position. But things have settled down a bit towards the front, but in the midfield, this is absolute carnage.
It is. This is from 8th place on back. This is the group that Lindhoff got himself back to after he went straight across the opening chicane, or the final chicane, rather, on the opening lap. On board with Alexander Olsen, who just lets one of the ice-cold drivers in rather nicely onto the racing line there through the final chicane. That spin, by the way, for Oliver Harkson Vigaju is very nearly what happened to Byfeld on the previous lap, the one before, just before he yanked it back again, and that's the spin he could have had. Would have dropped him even further, of course, because things were even closer on the opening lap. There were lots of casualties from incidents, though, which is a real shame to see. Christopher Cook and Johan Lindberg, the only two who have had to come into pit lane as a result.
But a lot of drivers are quite a way off. Let's see a bit of replay of this. This is on the first lap. Oh, that is just the tiniest bit of contact, but that was enough already for a spin further back. And let's see how this one worked out. That's the 94 of Oscar Motin, just getting a tag on the outside from the number 5 machine of Forcell, and it's the 10 of Hongbom. That was the initial driver that was involved. The 911, also so many drivers there. The 911, that is Pennings, and this is the 668 of Svensson as well. Further contact down in towards the hairpin, just a bit of a concertina effect, and then the 238 machine getting spun around. That's Skaggerston, who's actually got back up into 23rd place after all the carnage. There's Crook, I think, getting a bit of contact up ahead, yet getting spun around the wrong way, and further sliding, getting involved. I mean, these guys just don't stop.
So that was a three-wide moment. Crook doesn't quite realise or can't quite turn out of that enough. Johan Lindberg was the other one who got spun around, and there two of them who have come into pit lane at the end of lap 1. This is turn 2, lap 2, and how everybody managed to avoid Robert Carlson there, I'm not entirely sure, because there was a lot of drivers directly in behind him. Oh, this is the 10 car getting spun all the way around and down to the back of the field for Cedric Holmbob through turn 7. And this is Oliver Hodgson Bigsy, who was indeed hit quite hard, actually, by, I think, Dan Holmer. Or was it? It may have been. I don't know. It was around there anyway. He was about 8th at the time. As Elias Fanoli's losing places now.
Maybe he cut the chicane. He's got a slowdown penalty, so that has let a few drivers through. Lindelow's also lost some time. He's dropped back a little bit as well, so the top 5 have definitely broken away. Fanoli's still going slow here. Is there further damage? Because surely the slowdown would be sorted by now. He's been slow for a long time, but maybe he's up to speed now, just struggling to get rid of that. Yeah, I think that might be what it is as he gets going once again. But that is an awkward situation. He had to let quite a few drivers by, and look at the big train of cars. It's going to be so difficult to get all those places back.
Yeah, if you cut directly the first chicane and sort of do it as quickly as you can, if you like, by cutting it completely and going next to the wall on the right-hand side, then it does give you a very large slowdown. So I can absolutely believe that he was still serving it round turn 5 there, which it looked like he was. He's dropped to 8th place now, but he's still in that all-important top 10. And Lindhoff goes wide. Just as he'd gotten back to 7th place, he's back to 8th again now, after going wide through the hairpin.
And is that going to swap itself around once we get the slipstream down this back straight away in towards the final chicane? Unfortunately, got the meatball flag for Forslund there, the 27. Side by side, we go in towards the braking zone. Lindhoff on the outside is going to have to back out of that one. So Finoli is going to retake that position and get up into 6th place, or 7th place, I should say, as they work their way down this front straight. So definitely a bit of ebbing and flowing here. You can have some small battles, but it's often governed by someone making a mistake.
Yeah, it very much is around here. You know, it's so difficult to overtake normally that you think it would mean for not much overtaking in the race, but so easy to make a mistake around here that opportunities can be created relatively regularly. Oh, and a slide into the barrier a little bit there. That's the other thing that makes this circuit so easy to make a mistake around the proximity of the walls. Doesn't take very much to smack the wall. We've already seen a couple of drivers do that in the opening laps here.
Certainly have, as we're going to be seeing. Oh, there is a big Skittles moment. That's how Forslund went out of this race. One of the nearly on pace cars getting spun around, and that was not a nice moment indeed. Coming down in towards the hairpin, a bit of 10-pin bowling, but that is not the place to do so. This is a this is a racetrack, and very big accident there. That's one of the difficult points of this track, because you have this sort of kink down in towards the braking zone. If there's any sort of contact, you can easily go across. But fortunately, we don't see it too often.
No, but it is one of those circuits, one of those corners on a circuit that can create moments like that, unfortunately. The way that sort of double backs on itself there, going into the hairpin. Down at turn 10. Does make that kind of incident possible every now and again. Oh, and here you see it. Another late braking manoeuvre down the outside. Robert Carlson it was who went very, very wide. And there's a big stack up on the inside. I think Pontus Norgren felt responsible for that, and so almost let him back through again, it seemed, through the hairpin.
And is it over? The Oscar Motin, who was involved in that issue on the opening lap, is going to go to the outside. Very interesting for the final chicane. Maybe not trying to make the overtake, but at least trying to slow him down. Or maybe not. Maybe he's going to go for the overtake around the outside. He's broken late enough. Fair play. Oscar Motin making that one stick, getting up a position towards the back, and finally making some moves forward in this race.
Side by side again, just inside the top 30. Christian Loven up to 28th. Cedric Holmborn follows through on Frederick Forsell as well. So Forsell down to 30th, although still up 10 places so far in this race. It's going to be another one of those days where we see lots of movers forwards. Caleb Rollingstone currently the best of those moving forward. He's up 13 places, but he's still only 24th.
Yes, it's a tough one out there when there's 40-odd drivers. If you have a bit of a bad race, you are going to be losing a whole load of points and a lot of places to come back from. As it stands, Byfeld has kept the lead by over a second from Olsen. They got 4 seconds behind to Burtston as well. So those places are fairly sorted because Headland isn't really fighting for the podium either. But all the places in behind are very important. Remember, it's 1 point per position. So for the championship, if you need 10 points on arrival around you, you've got to get up 10 places in the race. It's a very easy but also tough point system. And that is way too deep there into the braking zone. And Forsell's going to be having a very nice easy move. Oh, as he rejoins, he makes further contact with Forsell's teammates as well. That is not a nice thing as Norgren getting pushed out. 3-4 cars are going to get through.
You've got to be careful rejoining like that. It's a really tight exit of that corner, and when you're on a different line like that because you've gone too deep at turn 10, you've got to be very careful coming back onto the circuit like that. And well, that is a bit of a unfortunate one. Thankfully it didn't create into a bigger problem than it already was, because this is quite a large group at the back end of the field. At the front, Marcus Byfeld is still leading, but the first time in a while he's got less than a second over Tobias Olsen. So despite being faster in qualifying, so far in the race, Olsen's been able to charge down quite a large gap there.
Yes, that is very true. Best lap of the race is faster. Last lap of the race is faster. I don't think this is over between the two championship rivals. 10 minutes to go in the Race Fair Online Gaming Race of the Week. And is there going to be a final opportunity for Olsen? It quietened down after the first few minutes, but now he is coming back and trying to chase down the championship leader. 1 point separate these drivers. So whoever wins this race out of the two will be leading the championship before drop scores are taken into effect. Oh, that's a huge chunk of the curb. Into the wall goes Olsen. You could see how much he's pushing, but with that damage, that might just end his chances.
Yeah, it might well do. And not least the second he's just lost. He's spent a long time getting that second back. And even to get to the point where he was before again, I think he's going to have to use most of the remainder of this race. But you can see how hard he's pushing. And because neither of them are going to be getting the 5 bonus points for no incident points in this race, you wouldn't have thought, that he might as well throw everything at this, I suppose. But now he might well just have to settle for second. It gap goes up to 3 seconds. Got to be a little bit careful. He doesn't fall any further than second now. He may really have damage here.
This is going to be a tough one for him, and it looks like he's not going to be able to hold on looking at the gap as well. So that is actually a question. Actually, no, I had to answer his teammates' mind. They're probably going to be able to give him that position as long as he's not too slow. If he slows up way too much, then his teammates might have to overtake him. Otherwise, he's going to get very awkward in behind because they've got Sundström who's coming right behind them, trying to push his way through. He's 4th place in the championship as well, so he's going to be wanting to get these points. But can Ice Cold do anything in terms of team play to try and hold on to it? That is going to be the one. Oh, actually, I say that though, Sundström is going to be having a bit of an easier time there, as that is a mistake. Lindlow goes back and Finoli gets the place.
Yeah, so this is all helpful for Olsen in a weird way, because you want to keep the nearly on pace drivers as far away as possible, and you want to make sure that if Olsen is indeed damaged here at the end, you want to make absolutely sure that he's got teammates behind him who won't overtake him, or will at least be nice to him, and not other team drivers who are around at the time, although they seem to be fighting amongst themselves here, Lindlow and Finoli. Lindlow goes through on Finale into 6th position, so swapping positions amongst themselves. Last time round, by the way, obviously Olsen's lap time didn't count, but the gap ballooned by over 2 seconds that time round to Beifeld, so he definitely seems to have damage.
Absolutely, as Olsen, Alexander also gets a black flag. So that is going to be putting him back through the pit lane. Side by side, the teammates go as we work our way through the very fast turn 5. And this is important because we've got Lindoff diving it down the inside now, being opportunistic, trying to make the move on Lindlow. And he's done that. Around the outside is going to be, and he's just about held on. So that is an easy place gain there for the number 8 machine, working his way forward. So Lindlow, he was up in like 4th place at one point. He's dropped down now to 8th after having a few issues in this race. Can Lindoff, though, get up towards Finoli, who's been struggling himself?
Well, it just shows what happens, doesn't it, when you participate in seemingly, seemingly sort of, I can't think of the word, but it seemingly doesn't matter when you battle with a teammate like that. You know, it's all a bit of fun, Finoli and Lindlow, but actually it cost them quite a lot of time, and it allowed Lindoff to get back into the fight again, and the momentum that Lindlow lost has cost him a position now. So seemingly harmless is the word I'm looking for. Goodness me. But it has unfortunately done Samuel Lindlow a bit of harm here, down to 8th position. Obviously does improve his position for the second race, but it's lost him points in this one, so it's a trade-off there, definitely. He's got a decent run now, though, in towards turn 1. This, though, is a look at quite an extraordinary battle at the start of this race between Beifeld and Olsen. I don't know if there wasn't contact here. Yes, I thought there might have been. And, well, if Olsen had kept this position from the very beginning, I do wonder what Beifeld would have said about it afterwards, and whether the stewards would have done anything, because that, for me, is a push to pass, really.
Yeah, that's a bump and run NASCAR style, but they both go into the wall on the XLT4, and maybe you can see why Beifeld just tried so hard. Huge send down the inside. I did quite appreciate how far back he was. That was incredible, and he stopped it as well. So Olsen just not quite brave enough on the cold brakes, and as we work our way up the back straight, this is a lovely move from Beifeld up the inside. He gets pushed onto the grass a little bit. He keeps his foot in. That gives the momentum back to Olsen, so he was able to go round the outside, but it was not done there, although there was a bit of contact.
I can't tell you how close he was to spinning there. That's an unbelievable save on the inside of that corner. And you know, this race has a completely different look if that happens. Another look down the inside of this hairpin. That's quite that's reactive defending, isn't it, really, from Tobias Olsen. He gets away with that one, I think, and Beifeld doesn't quite hit him out of the way. And then the run towards turn 1, just at the start of the next lap, it's just really extraordinary to watch, as Beifeld and Olsen try to give each other the least amount of room possible, but just enough to stay within inside the rules. Didn't properly go for a move here, did Beifeld, but he did force Olsen onto a stranger line into the final chicane. He's got a smoother exit there with no curb. Look at that. Much better exit. He's alongside him before Olsen can even defend. He squeezes him all the way to the pit wall. Again, Beifeld's on the grabs. And have a look at this. Beifeld doesn't want to give him a single inch of room, but he gives him just enough for him to be able to stay 2 wheels on the road, brakes, and then just turns underneath him into turn 2, back through again, and he will see it through turn 5 when Olsen goes in too deep. I mean, one of the battles of the season, I've got to say, one of the best battles I've seen for quite some time in these cars. It's absolutely incredible between the two of them.
Yeah, for well over a lap as well, pushing each other to the limit. That is amazing to see. And it also, it's not just the battle itself, but it's the situation. Being 1 point separated, they know what's on the line with just a couple of rounds to go after this, and that is why they're batting so hard. And they go, race. That was not going to be ending well, but he managed to gather that one up. That is incredible. Huge send down the inside here from Olsen just to finish off the replay, but he goes way too deep. Looks like Sebastian Vettel from a few years ago, and there goes we're getting old now, aren't we? That's quite a while ago.
14 years ago.
Oh, don't say that. That is terrible. I mean, Cedric Holmbaum's almost that age. Probably was, but he even remembers that race. There's a big send down the inside there. Not quite from the 8-11. That is Vigiju, 3rd place in the championship. He's going to be losing a lot of points today.
Remember watching that race before I went to school. Anyway.
Before you went to school? Oh, did you stay?
It was red flagged, wasn't it? So I couldn't stay up to watch the race live.
I stayed up. Yeah.
I don't think. Well, you're a few years older than me, without pointing it. You know. Anyway, I'd have only been about
right. Don't have to remind
8,
me.
in fact. I was probably 8. Anyway, Never mind. Olsen has definitely got damage here. And as I say, this is why it was so important earlier for his teammates to see off the other team's drivers, like Mikael Sundström behind, because these guys aren't going to pass him, but obviously other teams' drivers would. So Olsen's just got a limp here for the next 2 laps, and as I say, the fact he's got a double layer of insurance there is very, very helpful.
But well, I guess in some ways it doesn't really matter, you know, if like Hedlund gets a penalty holding up, you know. Olsen's still going to get the points, but they've got to be careful not really to do anything too dodgy when it is also Byfeldt's teammates that is coming through. So not only is it just any driver, it is Byfeldt's teammates. So that is going to be an important one if Sundström is able to get himself involved in this. But we're almost 8 seconds off the lead. We were about a second, so he's lost 7 seconds due to the damage, and obviously I would say not quite pushing now that he knows that the race lead is gone. So he's giving up on the race victory, but this is going to be a tricky final couple of laps to actually it's going to be up white flag this time around. Just one final lap to go as we're seeing Sundell there get up the inside of Vigashu. So Vigashu losing another place.
Yeah, and his target for this race one would have been to finish in the top 10. Now, that spin he had very early, that would have probably changed his goals, but he's not that far away from a top 10. Even now, he has a look down the inside and can't quite make the move there. This for 13th, by the way, on Joni Sundell. So top 10 is not going to be possible, but he could at least gain a few extra positions, maybe one extra position on this very last lap of the first race. Same for Henrik Lindhoff, who's been a bit of a yo-yo in this first race, and Hampus Baz for 7th place is the last overtake he'll be able to make.
Indeed, as white flag is out, Byfeldt, he's leading comfortably. He held on from an amazing charge from Olsen and now is running away with it and is going to be taking his 3rd race victory of the season. So it'll be 7 races down, be 4 wins for Olsen, and it will be 3 for Byfeldt, and Byfeldt will just have the championship lead by about 6 points. So this is going to be so crucial. Actually, the pole position as well, he gets an extra point for pole position, so it might even be 7 points that he gets, and if he gets the fastest lap, that will be another point. So Olsen needs to turn this around when we get to the 2nd race. Fortunately, the damage will be repaired on his car, but the top 10 will be inverted as Byfeldt comes down with just one final chicane to go. It doesn't look like Sundström is going to get close enough to Hedlund as well, so that podium places are going to be sorted. It's going to be Ice Cold Racing pushing their man Olsen to the checkered flag in 2nd place with a damaged car, but out to the final corner it is going to be Marcus Byfeldt, the 105 for nearly on pace, winning the first race of the evening for the Feather Online Gaming Race of the Week. And what a battle that was in the first couple of laps of this race. Olsen will hold on to 2nd place and Berntsen will get the final place on the podium.
And Lindhoff won't be able to get past Hampus Baz quite, so he will start 3rd in race number 2. But worth remembering as a caveat to that race, by the way, that Byfeldt was under big pressure from Olsen at times in that one and was definitely being chased down towards the end. He managed to hold on well because Olsen got damage. But remember that for race 2, Olsen had damage for most of that first race, and with half an hour, a little bit longer, and maybe a chance to run through the field better than Byfeldt with a lot of teammates in front of him, he might well be able to respond and hit back with a 2nd race, at least gaining of points over Marcus Byfeldt, who will certainly have, well, he's getting closer to even now as far as the wins goes. That's 4-3 now. Byfeldt picking up his 3rd there.
Absolutely, and that is someone coming out of the pit lane. That's an awkward time. Race is over, mate, unfortunately, as we work our way through the final chicane. Final few drivers getting through to the line. We are going to have I think it's 41 drivers get to the line, and to be honest, most of them were all on the lead lap. A good 38 or so drivers on the lead lap, so not so bad considering the carnage that we saw in the first couple laps. We were getting most of the drivers to the end of the race. They were able to continue on with the damage that they had, so that is very nice indeed. But lovely track here at Montreal Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and what a battle that gave us in the opening couple of laps. You cannot take it away from Tobias Olsen for trying to get in front of his teammate, or his championship rival, I should say, but unfortunately not quite enough, as there's the 80 of Dahlstrand, who I believe was the final driver on the lead lap. It's Tobias Olsen actually getting the fastest lap, so that is a crucial point back for Marcus Byfeld, balancing out the pole position. But it's Byfeld who won in the end, with Olsen, Bernsen, Hedlund, Sundstrom, Finoli, Baz, Lindoff, Lindlow, and Giros your top 10. So they will be the top 10 that are reversed, and the rest of the drivers will start in these positions for the next race. We've got Nordstrom, Stralberg, Sundell, Figaju, Skagerson, Gunnarsson, Olsen, Holmer, Norberg, and Backman your top 20. Then it was Frisk, Holmbaum, Schott, Johansson, Uvlin, your final drivers within a minute of the lead. Then it is Leuven, Motin, Wallingson, Brostrom, and Tier from the back of the grid up towards P30. Then we have Ericsson, Svensson, Forsell, Knell, Penix, Nordgren, and Dahlstrand, the final drivers really on the lead lap, with Pfeffer over 2 minutes behind, having some issues on his final lap. And then the final drivers there, as we have a look at the drivers who really had issues at the start of the race, with Crook and Lindberg. So very interesting indeed. And as we get yourself set for the second race, we'll reverse the top 10. We'll go again for 30 minutes. But as the drivers get a bit of a warm-up, we'll take some messages from our partners. Welcome back to Montreal, where we get ourselves prepared for the second race of the evening, the Feather Online Gaming Race of the Week, Round 8, the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's Road Course Series, here with the Porsche Cup car. To myself, Cam Roger, Ewan O'Leary alongside me, and Hugo Louise on the production of this RaceSpotTV broadcast, as we bring you into the warm-up session. And Ewan, that was certainly an amazing opening couple of laps there. In that sprint race, we saw the championship leaders of Olsen and Byfeld go side by side for well over a lap, but in the end it was Byfeld coming out on top and showing the dominance that we've seen from him in this series.
Yeah, we have on occasion. It's very much been about Byfeld and Olsen, hasn't it, over the course of this series, and that only continued here tonight so far anyway, which has been fantastic. I've got to say, I was a bit worried at the start of tonight that we weren't going to see very much in the way of action, because it would be so difficult to overtake, but that just hasn't been the case. That first race was excellent, and it can only get better with the reverse grid as well, as it so often does.
And the reverse grid is going to be a big change, with the difficulty in overtaking that we've seen in the first race. Once it's settled down, if the driver did make a mistake, it's a little bit difficult. So just how high do you think we're going to see Byfeld and Olsen get, considering the difficulties? I guess Olsen has quite a few teammates that will be easier overtakes, but still, it's not going to be easy.
No, it's not going to be easy, but it is worth remembering that he has 3 teammates. So I would say that's 3 positions straight off the bat almost. Worth remembering though that this time Byfeld does have Mikael Sundström starting right in the midfield, so he will be in front of Olsen. I think first part of the answer is that I think Olsen will finish ahead of Byfeld in this second race. I think that much is, well, not clear, but I think that is going to happen. I think it probably needs to as well for Olsen, just to tip the momentum back in his favour. It's worth remembering the second race at Rudskogen, where Byfeld was on the pole to begin with and ran away with the race win, took the fastest lap point and the 5 bonus points for not getting any incident points in that race as well. And with that race win in that last race, the momentum has just maybe tipped in his favour, so Olsen just has to win this one back again, pegging back by a couple of points. By the time we apply the drop weeks, if he does finish just in front, I'd imagine they will be almost level, depending on where they finish, coming into the last 4 races.
And that is what we want to see. It's a really tight battle going towards the ends, as we saw Holman there losing the rear end, just tapping the wall as he comes towards the end of his final laps in warm-up. But yeah, that's what we want to see, Ewan, isn't it? We want to see the championship going to that final battle. We've seen Byfeld really dominate previously. We've seen Jesper Eriksson as well having some easier wins in the Formula 4 cars. So it would be nice to see on the road course side of things that we go down to that final race. We've got a very short season with just the 7 evenings in this championship, so it would be nice to have a final race battle when we get there to the final race of the season at Donington.
Yeah, and you know, I don't want to put a downer on all that, but I do think that's slightly difficult to achieve actually, because if you look at the drop rounds and what the 2 main protagonists are going to be dropping as a round in this championship, it's going to be very, very small amounts of points. When you think about it, and that is going to mean it has to be very, very close going into the last round for it to really, for it to really change. 1 point per position, apart from the 5 between first and second, makes it a little bit more difficult as well, but in some ways a lot simpler for us to work out. As long as they continue like this, and you know, anywhere just sort of single figures but points apart, then yes, we're going to have a good championship finale going into Donington Park. But you know, a couple of bad races strung together and this could look very, very different.
Well, let's see how this is all going to work out. We still have one final race this evening. 31 minutes will be on the clock for the feature race. Top 10 inverted from the results of the sprint race that we just had, which means Olsen and, of course, Byfeld. They will be starting side by side on the 5th row of the grid. But who is in front of them is Giros getting the reverse grid pole with Lindelof, Lindhoff, Baz, Fenoli and Sundström. There, Sundström, can he help Byfeld at all? That could be quite important. Hedlund, Bertson, and then we've got Olsen and Byfeld. They are your top 10. Nordstrom and Strauberg, they are your top 12. And then we'll let the other drivers just roll their way through, because there's a whole load of other drivers, and this is all the finishing positions from what we saw in the sprint race earlier, and some drivers who obviously have some issues. They'll be starting from where those issues left them, which is not nice, but that is how the format works. So, Ewan, what do you think we're going to see in terms of the race victor? Do you think Olsen can come through with the fact of his teammates, or is someone different going to win this race?
I'll predict Lindhoff from 3rd place. I think he's shown good speed. If he can stay consistent, I think he will win this second race.
Let's go with Giros Elise taking us away. The Feather Online Gaming Race of the Week. Round number 2, round 8 of the season, but he gets a bit of a bad launch, and it's going to be Lindelof getting the run and getting the whole shot down towards the first corner. Who wants to break later? Looks like Lindelof should be able to hold it on the outside, which will turn to the inside of turn number 2, and he does so. He takes the race lead. Lindhoff is trying to get up the inside as well, so this is a terrible start from Giros, who's going to lose 2 places as he work away down towards turn 3 for the first time of asking, with 3 wide in towards the chicane. A little bit further back, can they all work that one out? It looks like they are all over the grass as we get everything being spread. Oh, there's a crash in the background as well. Who's involved in this one? That's the 105. That's Marcus Byfeld, your championship leader, and it's a pile up in behind.
And Olsen got through. He's still in 10th place, and he might have damage, but Byfeld has even worse damage. He's got a meatball flag, and how that's not a complete track blockage is a complete mystery. Some good escaping there from a few drivers in the middle of that to avoid complete catastrophe.
Thankfully, we have a drop round, but that certainly will be used for Marcus Byfeld. But what that means is the other races towards the end of the season will be so crucial. Big send down the inside from Baz as he tries to get onto the podium places. Giros has had a terrible start from the reverse grid pole. Baz slides him wide as well as he work away through turn 11. He pushes him, and it's going to be Finoli trying to get past on the back straight.
And he's going to as well, I think, with the momentum. He's in danger of getting boxed in, to be fair. And that could be his biggest obstacle, unless he can just get clear of Giros, and he does now. On the way to the final chicane, he can pull out in front of him and maybe even go for third. Oh, it's brave on the outside. Really brave. But he's going to manage it. Oh, he hops over the curb. That'll be a slowdown. He's going to have to slow down here, surely. And here comes Bernson, his teammate. He's going to get boxed in now. Oh, and slowing down as well, Hampus Baz. He got to slow down. Maybe even Finoli got away with that somehow.
Giros just about holding on to third place around the outside. Finoli is seemingly, yes, continuing on, and he keeps his fourth place. Bernson in behind is holding on, and then we are going to see Sundström, who's got himself up there. Baz goes down to 10th place after that slowdown coming out of the final chicane. So many cars in one sort of line. If you make a mistake, you lose so many places, and all this battling has let the top two get away. Lindelof and Lindoff, they're having a battle of their own for the race lead.
Yeah, they are, and Lindelof you'd expect to be favourite in that one, to be honest, although Lindelof won't want to give that position up very easily at all at the front of the field, of course. It's one long line behind that, with Tobias Olsen definitely involved in 9th place. Marcus Byfeld's got a meatball and will be there for a long time, so we can call him as good as out of this race, I think. You've got to really think then about what are his worst scores. What is this going to overtake in terms of his worst scores? Coming into tonight, he would have been dropping a 41-point score and a 45-point score. That's both top 10 finishes, but obviously this will now become one of those at the end of today. It'll probably be the 41-point score and then whatever this is going to be. So effectively, he's going to have 45 added to his score, which is a 5th place finish normally. If Olsen is inside the top 5 in that case, or even more advanced inside the top 5, he will gain points. But at the moment, he'd actually weirdly lose points.
It's so funny how these drop scores work. We're side by side through the final. Oh, contact is made. Olsen involved in that one, but unfortunately it looks like it's going to be nearly on pace car who's out and down the field. We're 4 wide almost in towards the first corner. This is absolutely crazy stuff as Olsen is going around the outside of Baz. He's somehow still in this battle. Strollberg is trying to get involved with him in behind. Olsen gets through up into 8th place. Baz loses the position to Strollberg as well, but both the championship leaders getting involved in incidents.
Yeah, and we'll see what damage Olsen has. He's already had damage once tonight. Oh, and that's contact. He's not going to be annoyed anymore by Joel Straubberg, because he's in the wall and gone down behind Johnny Sundal, who's up to 10th and may even look for ninth. But Olsen's going to be in the clear now. The bigger problem is going to be the 2.5 second gap created in front of him, although he's got a long time to make up that type of gap. This is what happened, and it is Tobias Olsen who initially gets into the side of Marcus Byfeld. There could be some championship stewards drama even at the end of tonight with that incident there.
And you asked earlier about how it wasn't a roadblock. It's because all the drivers ended up facing the right direction, so they weren't sideways perpendicular across the track, so there's enough room for everyone to squeeze through. But you're right there, the two championship rivals having contact, and unfortunately for Marcus Byfeld, is he going to be out of the race? Yeah, he's not going to be rejoining us, so that is a big shame for him. But fortunately with the drop rounds, he might just get away with that one, and especially if Olsen gets a little bit of a penalty, as we saw earlier this season as well. That is going to lose him some more points. Let's see a replay of this. So he's going to get the run up the inside. I mean, there just wasn't enough space there at all. And unfortunately, there's so many there's so many ice cold racing cars as well. A few of them also ping-ponged, but not much that they could do. No fault from their side, but just ironic, Olsen's teammate there. But that was, Byfeld was basically on the curb, and Byfeld was on the curb, and Olsen just sending it over the grass basically to try and get past. Yeah, you've got, oh dear, that's a bad looking car, isn't it? That's Alexander Olsen, who's got no rear wing. GT3 Touring, mate. With no rear wing on that one, but he rejoins in the race and in towards the final corner. Oh, Bjorn Broström just getting a tag from the Street Trends cars. Might be Crook, who unfortunately is now in the pit lane as well. He's had a pretty miserable day, Christopher Crook.
which is a bit of a shame for him. Yeah, I mean, when you're in those situations, you do have to look at the driver who actually instigates those big pile-ups, and it does look a little bit like Tobias Olsen may feel the blame for that one. I mean, you do have to, in mitigating circumstances, to be fair, you do have to be very wary doing what Byfeld did there by trying to get a run, a sort of a good exit out of turn 4 by taking that different line on lap 1 with so many drivers right behind you. You've got to be very, very wary about doing that because you can very easily get run over. But I still think Olsen, you know, didn't even have any sort of overlap on the way into the second part of that chicane. And so, yeah, just drove straight into him. And I think Byfeld has a right to be a little bit irritated by that incident. We'll see what the stewards decide to do about that and whether there is going to be any action taken there or whether it's all going to be racing incidents. To be honest, I think the first race, even though there was a bit of contact between the two, a bit of rubbing, I think that was all fine. That, though, might well receive some scrutiny. We'll see.
Might do indeed, and the stewards, they definitely have some tricky decisions to make today. We obviously see them, in the Discord, they jump in, they start watching the incident straight after the race. They will be there and working things out. As in the background, we're seeing a bit of a dive up the inside there, and that is trying to make the move from Sundström up the inside of Hedlund. Round the outside, contact is made, and the 899 is going to be squeezed up towards the edge of the circuit. Hedlund's still on that inside line for the 777, and he will continue to do so because it's short to run with the curve on the straight, but on the outside it's going to be a huge send from Sundström. Contact is made though. The tiniest bit of contact to send the 899 round, and the incidents today between nearly on pace and ice cold continue. Yep.
Sundström was nearly on pace, his last chance, both of a good result and of course of keeping Olsen to a restricted position with inside the top 10 here, but that's gone away now. And Olsen's going to get that place from Hedlund very, very easily. He'll be up to 6th position and pretty much tied up then with Byfeld, sorry, who's at the moment, or at least to this point, would have been gaining points effectively when you applied the drop rounds. Oh, really over the curve for Geros, and Finoli and Bernson are going to go through.
I thought that was going to be a bigger crash than it was, but I think Geros is going to have some major damage from that one. So it's going to be Bernson getting 3rd place. Finoli will follow through in 4th, and Geros, after holding on to a podium place for a little while, is now dropped down into 5th position. Tobias Olsen is coming in behind as well from 6th place. We sort of forgot about him for a couple of laps, so he's still there. He could easily be on the podium today and getting a really big score with his championship rival in pit road.
Has Finoli got damage? Or a slowdown again? Oh, Geros is slowing down again. So he's now going to be overtaken by Olsen, who's now in the top 5, gaining points again. By the way, at the start of tonight, if you'd applied the drop rounds, Olsen would have been 2 points ahead of Byfeld instead of the other way around, but obviously that would have changed around to be 3 points in favour of Byfeld. So in that case, I think if Olsen finishes 2nd, it would be a tie. That's very rough maths, maybe it's wrong, but it's going to be very, very close, even with this bad race for Byfeld, as far as I can see. And Olsen, I think, is going to get at least 3rd, because he's got 2 positions of teammates in front of him, and that's before he even gets to Lindlow or Lindhoff, if he does have time to get to them as well.
I wonder... Oh, there goes Geros again. Loses the rear end. There's definitely some damage on that car. He's not feeling comfortable. Hedlund gets past, and I think Geros is going to struggle to keep inside the top 10 here. But yeah, I wonder if there's been some even discussions with Ice Cold about Tobias Olsen going for the championship, or if it's just, you know, common knowledge between them, you know, common sense, I should say, when they are around each other on the track. Let's see how this one works out. Matt Strands trying to go around the outside of 35. Robert Ericsson, that is going to be the long way round as we work away through turn 10 and onto the back straight. He's made it work, and Ericsson almost gave up that position.
Yeah, pretty much, as it's... Oh, what is going on here? It's 3 wide nearly on the way towards turn 1 again, and Holmer hasn't been making too many appearances so far this evening, but looks to the outside of Sundal in towards turn 1 that time around. Tampa's Baz here as well. I think that's Stjalberg just behind them as well, isn't it? Joel Stjalberg, so he's in 11th. It's all been happening in these first 10 minutes, but you'd imagine it will just calm down a little bit now that all these incidents have happened and spread the field apart a bit.
Yes, indeed. It's certainly calmed down in a good way, though, from the first couple of laps. So a little bit too much. Let's see what positions are still up for grabs. Dan Holm has worked his way up inside the top 10. He's already gained 8 positions in this race. Such is the way that the racing has been going so far. Looking, there's been some other big movers. Holmbaum, couple places back. He's made up 10 positions. And yeah, Oscar Motin as well. So some big movers. Even further back, we got Matt Strand, who we saw the replay or saw live a few minutes ago. He's made up 16 places. Been a lot of big movers in the opening 10 minutes of this race. We're still just under 20 to go. Still plenty of time for these positions to change. It looks like Baz, who is challenging up towards the top 5 a little bit earlier, is now potentially losing a few more places. He's got 3 drivers chasing him down.
Yeah. And towards the final chicane, Baz under pressure, but so far not showing any signs of it through this chicane over the curves. A little bit more nicely this time. Seen a few drivers in the wall out there tonight in the Wall of Champions, but not too many in truth, which is good to see. Only 6 retired from this race so far as well, which is pretty amazing considering some of the action we've seen so far. But as I say, it will just calm down a bit now in this group and everywhere else as well, because the field is spread out a bit more. It's what I was more expecting from Montreal tomorrow. I was expecting it to be a lot harder to overtake than it's turned out to be.
Yeah, but we haven't seen many clean overtakes, to be honest, apart from that first lap battle in the sprint race, although even then there was a little bit of contact in that, wasn't there, as that's Stolberg getting past, Holmbaum dropping down, so it's actually Bachmann Sundström have got through, and I think it's Norberg actually, it's Norberg, Bachmann, Sundström. Norberg so he's slowing down here, and Holmbaum just slowed down, Norberg did as well, and they both got slow down penalties from previous that they're trying to get rid of, so Holmbaum gets that place back. What on earth is going on there?
That's just the nature of this racetrack, isn't it? That slow down penalties get served and overdue, and you have to slow down quite abruptly. There's another move down here at the hairpin this time, quite late on the brakes on the outside line, but slips through on the inside to Sundström. Andreas Bachmann getting that slightly wrong, and will now be under pressure from Holmbaum. And Gabriel Norberg is really close behind Holmbaum coming down the straight here.
Side by side we go down the back straight, but not quite actually. It's just going to be enough for Sundström to hold on, but we're side by side in the background as well. Holmbaum on the inside line. Is he going to be half thinking about attacking in a form of defense, trying to hold on from Norberg, who's getting through? They've lost quite a bit of time through that final chicane and up towards the line to start another lap. Norberg looking to the inside, but not enough to try and make the move due to the kink. Holmbaum will hold on to that one. That is for P14 as it stands. Norberg just in behind. And then, of course, we've got Bachmann in the light blue machine just ahead in P13.
Yeah, it's a growing group as far as numbers are concerned. And this will continue, by the way. Oscar Motin and Jock Frischke not that far behind. Oliver Hagström-Vigersjö is just caught up now as well. So there you can see them, in fact. The longer this continues, especially from the front of the group, the more they will lose time. And the Lilian Pace drivers are effectively free from their teammates' jobs, if you like. Before, they would have been in there to try and hold up other guys for Byfeld and help him in any way that they could, but it's not necessary anymore, with Byfeld still serving a meatball flag down in pit lane and not able to get any points from this anyway. He's already 7 laps down, 8 laps down. So they're free to race now and race for themselves as well, for maybe the last time this season if Byfeld has a clean season from now on. Yeah,
it's a weird one. Just looking at the points, obviously I missed the previous round. I wasn't quite, and looking at the results before the championship, I wasn't quite expecting Byfeld to be leading the championship, as he only had 2 wins to Olsen's 4 before coming in tonight, and then even winning that previous race, he may still not be leading the championship. Coming out of this is very crazy how the season goes, but it's all about being consistent. And Olsen, another podium today, because Berntsen and Fanoli, Headland, 3 teammates behind. They're not going to be gifting up that podium very easily. And now they're trying to chase down Lindhoff, but I think Lindhoff might just about have enough to hold on. Although I say that on the previous lap, Olsen was half a second quicker. So at that pace, it might be quite close to the end as Wallingston getting the number 3 is going to get a black flag and go back down pit road.
Yeah, will do. So, plenty of trips down pit lane to come, I think, with the black flags coming up. Don't forget that in these races, it's 17 incidents before you get a drive-through. Well, if you've been in a lot of contact, especially early on in the race, you were in the middle of that big pile-up, then it'll be very, very quick to get to 17, and there's a big spin now. Oh, that's hard into the wall for Cedric Holmbaum, who gets the chicane at turn 8 and 9 all wrong.
Few drivers there have struggled with that braking point because it is actually quite a fast entry to that chicane, but it's so tight, it's so narrow, and if you go over the curbs, there's no escaping from that one, and that was not how we would have wanted to see it, his race end. Just sliding the rear end, didn't quite make the apex, and then a fairly sizable hit in towards the barrier as well. That is going to be big points lost from the number 10. Has he been able to rejoin? Yes, he has. He's in P22, so losing a good chunk of places there. As we see, this is Sundstrom now with Holmer behind him. Holmer's making up some good moves. 6 places so far this race. We work our way down towards turn 1, and the 79 not quite making that move, but Sundstrom is looking strong as well. They are 5 seconds off the car ahead of Stralberg, so this is their battle to the end. Yeah, it will be, and we are over halfway in this race as well, so tearing towards a finish here at Montreal in race 2. A dramatic race for the championship it has been as well, with Marcus Beifel all the way down the back end of the field. Tobias Olsen with just under 14 minutes now to close the 3 seconds to Henrik Lindhoff and try and pass him as well. It's going to be pretty difficult for him to do that in the remaining time, but he'll want to give it a go. As I say, that's going to be really close to a tie effectively for the championship lead after 8 races if he can get into second. Well, let's wow, that's close. That is really close. Let's see how this one ends. Just 2 and a bit seconds separates that as Holmer losing some time in his battle and is now looking in his mirrors as the 119 machine. Bagman is getting closer and closer with 13 minutes remaining in this race. It really has been a tricky track, and drivers making mistakes left, right and centre. Leuven getting a black flag. He's definitely not the first one and won't be the last, I assume. It's been a tricky one. Stralberg in the foreground there was making a huge send up the inside, I think, of Sundell, but we'll get to that in a second because Frisk a little bit further back, the 25 machine on the back of Edwin Forsland, your IndyCar champion from this time last year, but backing out of that one, and Forsland holds his place. Yeah, it does for now. Pretty deep into the final chicane though, and Frisk is going to get a slightly better exit. Not sure the straight is long enough, the front straight is long enough for him to really benefit from that minimal of a good exit, and no, it isn't. So he stays in 18th, and we'll have to find another way past in the next few moments. As I say, these battles getting more difficult to start now with the field a lot more spread out than before. Indeed, and it was interesting with Frisk deciding to stay behind there, so maybe just thinking that he's a bit faster. They are 2.7 to the car ahead, so maybe he's just going to try and follow through, because in theory Forster should be a lot quicker than the position that he is, so maybe Frisk thinking there's a few tenths to be gained by following that car through. And this battle is certainly not over, is it? Bachmann has a big fight on his hands. He's got Vigaju up behind, who started the day 3rd in the standings. Sundstrom just up ahead, who started the day 4th in the standings. So they are going to be losing some points quite a few points to Olsen today. Bit of a send down the inside from Vigaju. It's late, but can it work up the inside? He's made it stick to the apex as well. Bachmann's going to have to let that one stick. And out of nowhere, Vigaju gets a place up to P13. That's what you got to do, especially down at the hairpin there. You've got to just have a dive down the inside if you can, even if it's a bit of a lunge from a long way back, and that has been the case for Oliver Hogson Vigaju on that occasion. Can he maybe take 2 in 1 here and maybe overtake Holmer as well? He's only going to look there, and he is not going to pass into that final chicane this time around. I hope for a better exit and a chance at turn 1 again here as he tucks back into the slipstream. You can barely see him, he's so close. I don't think he's close enough even still. He looks. Is he going to go? Oh, yes, he is on the inside. He just about gives room. Holmer was very nice to him there on the inside. But he has the inside at 2 and 3, and then turn 5 after that. So he's still in the position to hold on. Side by side in towards the braking zone of turn number 3. What a battle. This is going to be a bit of contact, a bit of rubbing between the two. Can Backman get both of them on the exit? He's going to get one. There goes Holmer, but can he get the other? Vigashu, he's going to have to run down in towards the next corner at turn number 6. Not quite enough this time around, but what a battle between these guys. Vigashu getting through all of them, and Backman trying to follow through, but what a battle. There might be 10 minutes to go. There might be some other points on offer, but these guys are fighting hard, and Vigashu's made some important moves there for his championship.
He absolutely has. And he has been making some overtakes in this in these two races. It's just a shame he's been going down a couple of snakes as well as up a couple of ladders in this race, because it's been spins for him otherwise when he's not been overtaking people. And that's why he's still outside the top 10 even now, as Strauberg and Sundo continue to go side by side for 9th and 10th position. They're going to be, well, dead even, in fact. Their exit seemingly exactly the same as they come down the back straight here. Sundo a bit later on the brakes, but Strauberg holds the inside line, and so he will get up into 9th place. Oh, a big jump over the curves there from Sundo. I presume because he was unsighted, and we'll see whether he has to slow down or not. It looks like he does, yeah. So that's that battle settled.
Big slowdown as well. So Sundström is now coming back into the picture for that, and Vigashu not so far behind. So still a handful of laps left in this race. A few opportunities. Here is Tobias Olsen as well. He's chased down Lindhoff. Did say at the pace he would catch him. I thought it'd be maybe in the last 2 or 3 laps, but he's now got 9 minutes to try and find his way past. Lindhoff isn't going to be letting this one up lightly though in the number 8 machine after a strong run in second place so far, but they haven't really been challenged, so he's been a bit cold for the last 15-20 minutes or so. No one's really been behind him, but now he's got to switch on again as the prospective championship leader is chasing him down.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Olsen giving this a go at the moment. 8 minutes to go, and he's got quite a while to make this one pass, but don't forget, he may well be close to hitting the incident limit at this rate. He'll have at least 4x with that lap 1 incident, and there's been over 20 minutes since then for him to pick up other off-tracks. So if he is close with regards to that, he won't go for this quite as fiercely, but you'd imagine he's kept an eye on that, and he will be able to use a few up, trying to get past Henrik Lindhoff here, who I think must have damage, because there's no way he's been eaten up by Samuel Lindlow to the tune of 5 seconds. That seems extreme to me, so I do wonder whether Lindlow is nursing something at the moment.
I don't know. Lindhoff, yeah, I mean, his fastest lap is the slowest of everyone in the top 6 or so. I mean, really in the top 8. So maybe he just doesn't quite have the pace so far. But it is just a 10th here, 10th there sort of thing. And so far he is holding Olsen up. So he is fast enough. So it's not like Olsen is just going to absolutely cream past him. And he's going to be able to hold on to this. But it is about 4 laps that he's going to need to hold him behind. So that is a lot of pressure on his shoulders to try and get this second place. And at the end of the day, this is just for 1 point on the road. So this is, points wise, he could just let him through and take this 3rd place, but he is going to want the 2nd place around the outside. It's going to be for Olsen. He's going to get a big switch back here, but no, he can't quite get the nose up the inside. This is not a car ahead for position, so that's going to be moving out of the way. But let's see what the slipstream is down the back straight.
Now he's got time and space on his side as Olsen, 6.5 minutes and just over 4 seconds behind him, so he does have a little bit of room to manoeuvre here, move left and right, try a few different lines, a few different overtaking chances, and maybe even just force Lindhoff into a mistake, but that was expertly done, that final chicane there, Lindhoff. And he's completely got rid of any chance of him being overtaken towards turn 1 there, as Lindlow got a slowdown, I think, through that final chicane. Unless he's having bigger trouble here. He might well be having bigger trouble. Suddenly, the gap has halved in just a moment.
Ooh, this is very interesting. Oh, Lindelow's got some problems. Lindelow has some problems, and imagine if Tobias Olsen can try and win this race. Is this Lindelow having problems? Is this Lindelow slowing down? We will certainly find out, but I would not be surprised. Oh, he's definitely got problems. The 199 sliding around. Has he hit the wall somewhere? We're going to find out, but Olsen has such a good chance of winning this race now. He just has to find a way past the number 8.
And he will be championship leader in that case. He will definitely be championship leader if he goes on to win from here. He's also getting a fastest lap bonus point at the moment, which might mean he's already drawn level with Byfeld, to be honest. But it's going to be in the single figures, that's for sure. But is it going to be in favour of Olsen or not? A race win would certainly confirm that as he moves to the outside of Lindelof now into the fight at the hairpin. Sorry, he goes for the up and under. He goes for a tighter exit. Oh, can he get there without just spinning Lindelof around? Is he alongside? It looks like he might well be. No, Lindelof can pull in front of him. Does he want to, though? He doesn't want to take the risk. And he's on the inside, Tobias Olsen, for second place.
And this is going to be a big move as Pennings gets a meatball, but side by side for the potential race lead if there's issues ahead, and he's made it work. Olsen gets through finally. What a move. On the previous lap, he couldn't get his nose up the inside on the exit of the hairpin. This lap he did, and he managed to make it work down towards the chicane. Lindelof is not giving up, though. He's going to dive to the inside of turn one. What a defensive maneuver there. He's going to go deep, but he's just now held it on the track, and he's blocked Olsen as well. What a move there from the number 8 to regain second place.
That was very well done from Lindelof into 1 and 2 there. He broke just about late enough to just keep it on the road at 2 and then effectively just carry on braking around turn 1. Oh, he's got to slow down though somewhere. He must do. Oh, that's it. Tobias Olsen into second, and that's a heavy slowdown. Dear me. 3 seconds or more lost there by Lindelof. And, well, that will be that. Or is it something more sinister here? This is a massive slowdown. 3.5 seconds he's lost.
That is such a shame. He did so well to regain that place, and he may not even get a podium at the end of this unless he can speed up, but it looks like he has got back to full racing speed. So that gives Olsen second place, which, to be honest, if Ice Cold are smart, that'll give Olsen a race victory with his championship rival Byfeld sitting in the pit lane. What a change around that is from the dominance that we saw Byfeld in that first race. Olsen is going to be coming through and be at least second in this third race. Lindelof is not going to be getting close enough either to really challenge that, because no way is he going to gain 4 seconds in 3 minutes on Olsen. So I really want to see what happened with Lindelof there, because he was looking okay, but just the smallest of mistakes, getting a slowdown, and that unfortunately loses him second place.
That is a really big slowdown as well. Massive. I mean, he's lost 4 seconds in that. As Hampus Baz looks down the inside of Geros, but doesn't actually go through. Well, that puts Olsen into second and almost certainly in the championship lead now. And I think Lindelof is going to let him have the win as well. As Baz gets a big slowdown himself, Strauberg will get a place here, you would think. I don't actually think Lindelof was having problems there. I think he was slowing down to maybe come to the aid of his teammate just for a moment, but then realised he could make the overtake on his own. Now, though, I do think they're going to exchange places here, because don't forget the gap between first and second in terms of points is 5, not just the 1 point that it is for every other place.
Yes, and for the championship, it doesn't matter which driver gets the points. Although, having said that, iSport do have some different sub-teams for the Constructors' Championship, because you can only have up to 3 drivers, I think it is. Kenneth Tier gets a black flag. So many drivers getting the black flags today, really struggling with the off-tracks, I would assume, around this circuit, as we are now to 2 minutes remaining. Here is Baz. He's been in battles all race so far. So is Geros up ahead. Now they're trying to hold on from Strauberg and Sundstrom, who's pulling a little bit of a train of cars behind him, because we also have Sandel and Vigaju not too far behind.
Yeah, it's really sort of grouping up now back here as they come down into the final hairpin again. All created by that battle between Geros and Baz going very slowly through that final chicane last time round. It's all sort of grouped up behind them, stemmed from there, really. As they now come down the back straight, where is Hampus Baz going to go? Is he going to have another go into the final chicane? And is this one going to be the final lap? It looks like it will be, but only just. Lindelof now just a lap away from a victory, and the first non-Olsen or Byfeld winner of the season too, it will be.
Oh, big slowdown. Look how many places he's going to lose. The 107 of Baz, he was holding up these drivers for so long, and just the tiniest of mistake loses him 2 places. But now he's under threat from Sandel, from Vigaju as well. Might be another 2 places lost on this final lap. Checkered flag is going to be coming out at the end of this one. The Feather Online Gaming Race of the Week has certainly been action-packed. It's been carnage-filled crashes. We had slowdowns. We had championship leaders going into pit lane. And what is going to happen on this final lap? Lindlow's leading by 3 seconds. It looks like he's not slowing down, at least yet, to give the place and to give the win to Olsen. But fair enough, Lindlow has earned this one from getting the lead on that opening lap and keeping it ever since.
Yep, he's dominated really at the front of the field, and fair play to him for that, because, as I say, he's going to become our first race winner who's not involved in the championship fight. Olsen and Byfeld have dominated so far, but that's going to come to an end here. This is a close battle as well. Vigasu getting one last place, I think, here.
Yeah, he's going to complete that. Sundell is the car involved. Hockenschott gets a black flag with just half a lap to go. Up the inside, it's still going to be with Sundell. He hasn't quite given up on this one just yet. And across the line, it is going to be for Lindlow to take victory today here at Montreal, the first non-championship rival to take victory this season. And he did not give up the one to his teammate, so fair play to him. Olsen will be in second place and Lindhoff will be in third. But who is going to get this place a little bit further down? Sundell or Vigasu as you work away. There's crashes up ahead of them. Around the outside for Vigasu. He's potentially going to get another place here as he come up towards the line. Oh no, unfortunately, not quite enough, because Sundström will just get to the line ahead of his teammates after an issue at the final chicane, the final corner. And I think Hampus Baz was involved in that one as well. Oh, further crashes in the background. Black flag for Jocke Frisk as he gets a final point as he goes across the chicane, and contact being made with, I think that's Matt Strand.
And more positions being lost on that run to the line as well. But what a chaotic couple of races here at Montreal tonight. As I said earlier, I was slightly fearful of the action we were going to see, because it can be sometimes very difficult to overtake around here. But these guys have put on a very good show, and these Porsche Cup cars have surprised me with how raceable they've been around this circuit. And obviously the Red Bull Ring is good, I think, in any car really, but put some confidence into us for Donington Park, and a great finale to come in a few weeks' time as well.
Definitely. I mean, one of the, I think, good things about this car is that it is difficult in that way. It's not easy, and it has some challenge for the drivers. And it's giving us a great championship. Forsell gets a meatball on the final lap. That is a very awkward place. Awkward timing, I should say, to get that one. So hopefully he doesn't cause his mechanics any further trouble, as the race is now over. And it was Lindlow. I'm really surprised actually that they didn't swap the place around and give it to Olsen. But to be fair to them, I don't know if Olsen is going to need it, and it is their direct teammates of the Ice Cold Racing by MaximRacing.com entry getting a 1-2 at the front. It was Lindlow from Olsen. Lindlow also getting the point for the fastest lap, and Lindhoff rounding out your podium. Finoli and Headland, and then Berntsen. So all the Ice Cold Racing drivers up towards the front 5 in the top 6. Then we have Giros, Straubberg, Baz, and Sundström, who had some interesting runs to the checker flag, rounding out your top 10. Vigasu, Sundell, Backman, Holmer and Norberg were your top 15 before we get to Forsland, Motin, Frisk, Gunnarsson and Mats Strand. Gunnarsson, we didn't really mention his name today, but a top 20 finish in the end. Uveden, Eriksson, Svensson, Karlström and Schott your top 25, with Pfeffer, Kinnell, Dahlstrand, Lindberg and Wallingstam inside your top 30. And then the drivers laps down, we got Broström, we saw him around at the final corner. Leuven, he had a black flag. Norgren having some issues today as well. Kenneth Tier, Pennings, Holmbaum we saw hitting the wall with 7 laps to go. Skaggerston, Crook, Forsell, and there's Marcus Byfeld, P40, 17 laps down with Nordstrom and Olsen there. That was certainly a lot of drivers and a lot of chaos here at Montreal, the Feather Online Gaming race of the week. And that might be a race to remember. A couple of races to remember for round 7 and 8 of the championship. Unfortunately, I don't know if any of the drivers are going to be joining us for an interview, but it was certainly entertaining. To say the least. A lot of carnage out there on the track, and it is going to be shaking things up in the championship. Olsen and Byfeld are going to be going down to the wire, and just a couple of weeks time we go to the Red Bull Ring, and that'll be the penultimate round of the season. We'll then go to Donington Park, so it is a European double header to finish this championship. It's been myself, Cam Roger, Yono Leary alongside me, and Hugo Louise on the production of this RaceSpotTV broadcast as we brought you round 7 and 8 of the Svenska Eracingligan's Road Course Series. And until next time, in a couple of weeks' time at the Red Bull Ring, it is goodbye for now.